and I'm excited to welcome Matt Thomas. Matt is a smallholder farmer, engineer, and pushcart nominated poet. His poetry has appeared in The Wild Word, Triggerfish Critical Review, the Hampton Sydney Review, Huron Review, Galway Review, Cleaver Magazine, Spellbinder Magazine, the River Heron Review, Dunes Review, and elsewhere. We're really excited to have Matt here today to read from Disappearing by the Math. I put some links where you can find that online in the chat, and we were chatting a little bit before about your process in this, so I'm excited to hear you read from the collection now. So I'll pass it off to you.
Thank you. Disappearing by the Math is a line from one of the poems that I'll read probably last. But it's basically about every day you're 1 minute closer to disappearing, right? Every minute, every hour, every day. And that's kind of the overwhelming question of life, right? Everything is weighed against that reality. This book, as I was telling Megan, is kind of like it was my self-help through middle age. It was the way that, when I woke up and my daughter was off to school and I wasn't doing the daily types of things that I did before, and my job had gotten kind of boring at this part. And, at this point, I'd been, doing it for 15 or so years. I knew what I was doing. I could do it by rote. At the same time, a lot of the ideas I had about what was going to happen when I retired started to go away. My dad got Alzheimer's. I planned to hunt and fish with him, and I planned for us to be retired together because he's only 19 years older than I am. But of course, that didn't happen. And that kind of threw me for a loop. And so, as I was telling Megan, these poems were like a rope. And each day I'd write one, or each week I'd work on one and pull myself a little further up the mountain and, trying to get to the other side. And that's why I like the cover of this book so much and this picture so much, is because I felt every day embattled, and I have one poem in here that I'll read about being hit by a rocket. And the reason it came to mind is because I was thinking about Ukraine, just because it was in the news at the time. And I was thinking about how bizarre to, as a farmer, stand there in your field and suddenly tanks are rolling by or rockets are flying around. That's how I felt metaphorically almost every day, that I'd come out to the pasture and seen a tank in the pasture. And what do I do with that? How do I process that? And so that's what these poems are about. And so that's the tone of this book. And one of my strategies for getting to day to day was to focus on what was really happening at that moment. So, we go through life and we don't really pay any attention to it. This one is about standing in line at the post office. So we go to the post office, we stand in line, we leave. We don't even hardly remember having stood in line, but as we're standing in line, we're hearing a million things. We're seeing a million things. We're feeling a million things. All of these inputs are being processed. We're just not paying attention to them. And so to me, poetry is a way to take a moment and flesh it out and build out all of the sensory realities of that moment within the poem, similar to what an artist might do painting. This one is called Still Life at the P.O. In line at the post office, fluorescent light blinking, each wink generating a low-frequency pinging whine over and over, which in seconds I assigned as a reliable noise to the hesitant queue, approaching the steps of the process, the next uncertain physical interaction, clutching the something, firing, corresponding with purpose at each convenience. An oscillating fan wet the clerk's shirt to reveal his torso as he worked. Blades broadcasting glue and rubber formed to the idea of the post, exchange of signs and meaning, the eye of a body gazing from the packaging, not firearms, not solvents, foodstuffs labeled, addresses affixed, packed, imagining the travel, delivery, reveal. A bowl of fruit, two hanging birds, cheese and apples, a half-drunk glass of wine. Still life, fluff to an interest in you, on its way to something else. Valued by weight of the accrued consumption encroaching hand to hand on shuffling feet, horses, ships, planes, trucks, wheezing bellows, starters cranking energy station to threshold of that other same as yours, and a moment of decision to allow inside or not the look you have arranged, nestled in bubble wrap, greedy for the shaping light to share with that foreign you who will concede that you were right to send the meaningful thing, even though you don't know what it is or why you certainly had to love it. I like the idea of everything having a kind of consciousness, even a package, even something when you're walking around a store and you see something and you have to have that thing. Why do you have to have that thing? What is it about that thing that speaks to you, just you, in that, very specific way? When I was a kid, I remember thinking that, I would assign personalities to all kinds of inanimate objects. And I wonder today, were they really inanimate? Is anything really inanimate? I'm not sure. I really don't think that it is. And this poem's about another moment, a smoke break. I've quit smoking for a long time, although I was in the house of someone today who was smoking, and I thought, oh my God, for a cigarette. Wouldn't that be great? If only they didn't kill you and they didn't stink. But this is called Smoke Break, M Street, September. Reflected by water tensed on the horizontal, waxy petals of rootless slumping fall pansies, passing time hand to mouth as St. Matt's rings the quarter hour, bulging, distorted, ash-flecked huddled molecules, pacing, flickering, wildly thrown light, casting a bind at each toll, stretching the membrane of the moment. Between each dripped note and exhale at a time, paralysis, everyday magic, roughing the lungs to take the paint of the shape of our escape, sketches in quick strokes on grids of need, pale as the sky's worn bluing. Each line like the brush of a starling wing, a kiss with a little bit of tongue, shotgun for the sagging afternoon, the cherry trees, half naked, questioning the mirror. I think that this idea of sensory experience and how to formally collect it or how to codify it is a really interesting idea. When I was younger, I read a book by Robert Percy called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. And maybe you've read that, but it was basically about the author's nervous breakdown because he tried to experience everything that he was sensing at one time. It's easier to do it in a poem than in the moment, which is what he was trying to do. It's also better for your head, I think, to try to do it in a poem. But each of these poems, I would try to fully reimagine the moment in order to keep it better, I guess. That's the best way to put it. This one is called In Which You Are Hit by a Rocket. And this one is what I was thinking as I was standing out in the horse pasture and thinking, my God, what if a tank went rolling by? And it's not so crazy an idea. It happens all the time. In which you are hit by a rocket. Your name is the first to go, even before the cheatgrass wilts, before the caterpillars are hurled in their sod homes, before the fungied stump that you had bent to touch disassembles, your body ruptures, turns inside out, cell by cell, before your toast, coffee, kiss at the door, before the parent who named you first thought, there'll be X. That's the moment when your name sensed the detonation and fled that fast. No more a trick than the solid transforming into a gas so quickly as to demolish you. Or the way your death occurs over infinite time, similar to the way you loved, erecting the stubborn parts like stones, fitting the shapes together in the way that they spooned best, allowing the shapes to make the thing they always wanted to be. And you, the builder, were the numbered beats of each of their satisfied stone hearts, each unique like snowflakes, and each the same like stardust, which you always thought a gaudy, shameful analogy, but you held to regardless. Because what if this entire existence is a tacky magic, something even peeper frogs are born knowing? Maybe the frogs call us sad as a noun because our parasitic brains have walled us off from that one known thing that makes life worth the pain of rockets, which of course it is, because the rockets don't hit everyone. But more fundamental is that you did realize that rain on a roof is a comfort because you aren't getting wet, not because the sound is pleasant, though it is. So the woo-woo of it aside, you stuck with the stardust. Otherwise, there was no reason, no purpose, no end game at all, just accident, happenstance. You'd been spit out of a blind luck machine, a found dog, stolen street sign, fallen limb, off-target rocket. Your life an iteration of semicolons, and you died like you were created in a slap of skin, your only magic the ability to comfort another, to kiss, to hear a cat snore, or to stand on a hill at night and see the lights of a city like the bioluminescent spiderweb on the grass of some dark hollow. All of those souls, or what have you, peeping in their spring. But if a solid can turn into a gas expanding, faster than a train, in the blink of an eye, if that's possible, what isn't? Surely the world and all of the life in it is a wonder, which is what you were thinking when you bent to look at the stump. There's a book, it's called The Stardust Revolution. I wrote down the author's name. It is Jacob Berkowitz. It's a wonderful book about the chemical composition of stars and the 5 or 6 main chemical compounds responsible for life on Earth, which are the exact same. And the way that it sounds really stupid to say, oh, we come from stars. But all of the evidence points to the fact that we actually do, which then sounds extremely cool when you think about it. This next one is about stars also. It's a little longer, and then I'll close with a short one. This one is called Atlas. We live on a mountain, and we look out over the west side of the mountain, and our bedroom has 2 big windows in the front, right in front of the bed. And so in the morning or early morning, a little late at night, you wake up and you look out and you see all the stars. It's like living in a tree because the yard slopes away and we're at tree height up here on the 2nd floor. The star always in the same pane, 3rd from left, like a box it's kept in, is nothing, probably, just travel exhausted light, but gutters on regardless. The wonder it stokes in my small animal imagination is a close, warm space in the dark when the sound of my heart expanding and collapsing seems more house noise than bodily function. What constellation is that, the story of the stop between beats? A clock is watched in expectation, but stars are watched to see what's been, not till, past. In the pauses between sleep cycles, they, in their dogged runs, lull us into assuming that today's experience is tomorrow's promise, which is what I'm doing now, watching remembered morning turn the redbud suckers thin and bright as crazes in glass. Anticipating morning while night lasts, which is what night does, a sightless day for our kind anyway. How cold the black around the star looks, and funny how often smallness causes us to imagine ourselves large, like looking at a distant mountain and pinching it between fingers, or lying now in bed imagining I'd like to grow giant size and stride out of the house and down this hill, which is itself a pinched remnant. But even a giant, I know I'd be just a small thing, keeping still within a larger shape like the center of a crow in the rain. Smallness is of a course for a thing born, where there is more nothing than anything. This bed is commonplace and warm with promise, a given name in a clutter of unsigned things, a kind of public recording, and I feel claimed if by nothing but needs temporarily met and the sweet pop of vertebrae adjusting. When I close my eyes, I see my atoms arrayed, my own emitting light, my own distant sisters, like me, not burning, but radiating effort, shouldering the order of things. Sometimes I wake in the memory of long gone intimacy, and that star and I are bound like that, coinciding for a while and then separated by degrees, following momentum through the matter of the 100 billion souls scaffolding Atlas. But that's tomorrow's work. Tonight, I'll watch time pass until it slips beyond the window frame and stall, bed in my senses, while I can. This last poem is called The Fall Chords, and it's about driving home from my daughter's 21st birthday party. Headlights carving an egress through the soybeans, coming home with a load of drunk kids, back from my daughter's 21st birthday party, thrown without a hitch, as long as no one throws up in the truck. The country snaking by, pasture, trees, and telephone poles, what they'd have plowed into had I not stayed sober, winning the easy points, keeping my eyes on the road, burning that gold star to warm my optimism, dread cocked like an ear, remembering my father's hands on the wheel, same as she'll remember mine, or another familiar thing, which will erase me, light thrown on the road immediately in front, disappearing by the math, nothing but memory, imagination, the bare firewood bin in June, a claim without proof that the fall chords were. All right, thank you.
Fabulous work.
Thank you.
That what was that? There's more nothing than anything.
Yes,
Oh my goodness, what a great line, man.
thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you for that really wonderful reading, Matt.